I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil. I never shook baby.
All right. Episode 39 of the Reckless Musecast. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Did we? Are we almost at a year? Is this
Almost.
No,
think
probably the next one would be
July, I think.
like early July, right?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when we recorded, but it's around this time last year, so
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah. So before we jump into the stupidity of what's going on in the culture, I should probably give a brief update. So I'll be taking a smaller role in the podcast. I'll probably be on like once every few weeks or so. Long story short, there's a bunch of creative things that I'm working on right now, which is fun, which is cool, but it's taken up a lot more time, and I've been getting more and more involved in these things the last couple months. So Ben will be doing a lot more solo stuff. So while I'll still be connected with the Reckless Muse as like a sort of brand, I guess. So I'll still be doing a lot of Medium stuff and hopefully doing a lot more social media, getting more active on Twitter and also branching out into other platforms, which is cool. So I think we're playing to our strengths here. Because Ben, you've always been very gung ho about the podcast, and I have too. But it's also sort of like just having like a big chunk of time that I have to like schedule every week. That's getting harder and harder. So
it's a long-winded way of saying you're fired. So
yeah, by me.
I mean, you could just say it. It's all right. People get fired all the time.
Yeah, we did a poll and it said that I was the favorite host. Ben felt really bad about that, so I was like, fine.
Spin zone.
Yeah, I'll still be coming on once in a big while. And I'll be handling more of the social media and the promotional stuff. But
you're still you're still producing it, right?
No, Ben, you have to find a producer. No. I'll still be handling the podcasting, editing, and stuff like that. Yeah, I can actually show you how to do it, and the software is free.
No,
but I mean,
that's I don't want to do anything like that. I'm the talent, so that's really what I get paid to do.
That's fine. So, yeah,
that's really my strength.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't be surprised if there are a lot of glitches happening.
I'm dubbed over.
Yeah, I just want to give people an update about their favorite host.
Second favorite host. Favorite to the host.
But a lot of we still got plenty of things lined up for the Reckless Muse as a whole. The whole brand. We're going multinational. And
can I plug that? My Pocket Movie Reviews list is now going to be in the Reckless Muse. So I don't know. I honestly don't know why I wasn't publishing it there earlier.
Yeah.
I just been publishing it on my personal page.
Yeah.
So now it'll be a TRM, which opens it up to some more readers.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get more active on my email list, which has TRM stuff. So
yeah,
podcast lists, stories, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, so it makes it easier for us to kind of branch out into other things and to put all of our efforts towards
synergy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get all stupidly Silicon Valley about it.
Synergy. Well, that's where you're from, so
I know.
Your language.
I know. And it was funny because I have a content marketing background. And so it's like, I need to put that on my LinkedIn. It's like a content marketing ninja, content marketing wizard. But, all right, cool. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Hey, by the way, real quick. So you like Iron Maiden, right?
Love Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I'm going to see, not them, but I'm going to see, tomorrow night, I'm going to see the Iron Maidens. They are an all-female tribute band to Iron Maiden. So
yeah, you've told me about them. Have you seen them already, or were you just telling me about this show?
I have not seen them yet. I've seen other all-girl tribute bands, like Paradise Kitty, the Guns N' Roses tribute band.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You've told me about them before. I wasn't sure if you've seen them already, but I don't know exactly how that will sound, but it sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I looked them up. It's hot chicks and heavy metal, so it's gonna be good.
That's your demographic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love Maiden. They're probably, I'd say they're my favorite. Is classic heavy metal a genre?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, classic
I'd say one of my definitely my favorite classic metal band. Maybe my favorite metal band.
Yeah, yeah.
That counts new metal. No, it doesn't count new metal.
And it's like Disturbed and Limp Bizkit and
no, not Limp Bizkit. I defend new metal, but that's because that was, I mean, our age group, right? Yeah. You were an angsty suburban kid in the 2000s. That it was new metal. Some of it, new metal is very polarizing. I think there's some great bands that are really fun, and there are just some really terrible ones. And you named a great one and a terrible one.
Maybe I'll come around back to liking them. That happens to me once in a while. It's like I love a certain band or genre, and then I hate it, and then I go back. I'm like, there's actually some pretty good. Yeah, I did that with Green Day. Green Day was like my favorite band in middle school. Yeah. And then when I got into classic rock and heavy metal stuff, I was like, man, Green Day sucks. But now I listened to a couple of albums from the '90s. I'm like, actually, this is pretty cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Dookie. I remember my brother had Green Day Dookie on cassette. Like that's how we listened to it. That's how old that was. Green Day was fine. I don't know. It bothered me that they had an album called American Idiot and they were Canadian. It was like, no, you can say that, but you can't. I don't know. They were very, unfortunately, the protest music of like the 2000s wasn't quite like the protest music of the 60s and 70s. I think System of a Down is an exception, but a lot of it was garbage. And I think they were kind of in that garbage area. Doesn't mean I don't like some of their other music. Yeah. I don't know. Even 21 Guns, I think is fine. But anyway, I'm not pro or anti Green Day. One type of music I have gotten into a lot recently, though, and it's mainly because we do power hours for it, is like pop punk. Really love pop punk power hours. It was probably one of those genres that I like pretended or actively tried to dislike at that time in like middle school and high school, and now that I don't really care about any of that stuff. It's I really enjoy a lot of it,
like Good Charlotte and Sum 41 and Blink-182.
Oh, always love Sum 41, always love Blink-182. I actually still don't like Good Charlotte. I find them again, I don't like them. Even when their songs come up on the power hour, I'm like, this is kind of it's much. They have a lot of muchness. And I feel like they try too hard. Blink-182 I always loved. I remember the first CD I ever got, or one of them, was a single of All the Small Things. Like it was only one song on the CD. I can't believe that existed, but it did. I remember my mom got it for me, which is kind of curious because like I had like the woman with the glove, right? With the busty nurse with the glove, and I was like, I was 8. I was like, all right.
Dude, I got duped by singles on numerous occasions because like if it was just like the band's like, oh, here's the latest thing, I was like, okay, cool, that's probably the album that I'm looking for, and I only had like 1 or 2 songs on it, and it's like,
you couldn't tell by the price. You could tell by the price.
I thought it was a really good deal. I thought it was like, oh, I'm getting that.
Yeah. Did you have to get edited CDs when you were a kid?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah. Like, I think I got the edited Jay-Z with whatever Big Pimpin' was on. I still remember going to a Sam Goody and asking for, I went up to the guy, I'm like, can I get the CD with Big Pimpin' on it? He like just kind of laughed at me. I think I had to get the edited one. I definitely remember having edited Eminem albums because I was obsessed with Eminem. I wanted to be Eminem, and I definitely, and they're unlistenable. It's just good times though. I'm subjecting my kids to that.
Sam Goody, that's a name I haven't heard in years.
They're out of business, right?
Oh yeah.
Sam Goody, yeah.
Unless there's one existing one like a
hipster one.
Yeah, like in Bend, Oregon, they have like the last Blockbuster.
I thought it was closing.
Oh really?
Yeah, I watched. Ironically, it was on Netflix, right? The documentary. I think there were like 3 left, and 2 were in Alaska, which kind of made more practical sense. And then one was in Bend, Oregon. And I thought it was closing. But but I hope it doesn't. I think it's fun for them. It became kind of like a pilgrimage site.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say something else. Oh, totally forgot. Anyway, it was a long. What were we talking about before Blockbuster?
Sum 41. Sam Goody.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. But
cool.
Do you want to?
Well, expect some quality content like this from Ben.
It's just me going, oh shit, what was I gonna say?
And then when you remember, you're like, I'm not interested in that topic anymore.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Oh, it sounded a lot better in my head.
Oh,
man. It sounded a lot better when I was talking to my cats about
it. So should we get into this, the stupidity?
Always.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
So we have a couple of topics.
Let's do the Tom Hanks one first. It's kind of milder.
Yeah. So he was in an interview with the New York Times. He was because he was talking about his role in the new Elvis movie. But of course because everything's about wokeness, intersectionality, and representation in Hollywood. Of course, the conversation goes to, oh, you played a gay man in a movie decades ago. How do you feel about it now? And so this is the movie in question was Philadelphia, where he played a gay character, and I believe he also won an Oscar for that role too.
Yeah, he did.
And so I have the quote right here. Let's address, could a straight man do what I did in Philadelphia now? No, and rightly so. The whole point of Philadelphia was don't be afraid. One of the reasons people weren't afraid of that movie is that I was playing a gay man. We're beyond that now, and I don't think people would accept the inauthenticity of a straight guy playing a gay guy.
So, have you seen Philadelphia?
No, I haven't. I heard it's good though.
It is good. It's very good. And what's funny is that he's probably right that movie wouldn't get made and it's controversial today the way it was made because Hanks is straight. But the real reason I don't think it would get made is Denzel Washington's character is like extremely homophobic.
Right.
He's his lawyer. So he's like the good lawyer, right? And in today's culture and in the art, like you can't have a character in that position who is morally gray, I guess you could call it, or like not the beacon of social justice if he's defending a gay man with AIDS who was so the legal issue in it is that Hanks is himself a lawyer at a very prestigious law firm. He's hiding his homosexuality, and then he starts getting lesions from AIDS where he can't hide anymore, and eventually he's fired. So it's a wrongful termination suit and discrimination for being gay, right? His work didn't suffer at all. They tried to frame him for, he was an excellent lawyer, right? It was no question that anything to do with his performance was solely because of his private life, obviously not cool. And they would make really kind of gross homophobic jokes and things like that. But Denzel Washington's character is like not some progressive liberal at all. Privately, and even like I don't even think he takes the case at first, and he has issues with Hanks both having AIDS and being gay. And like that's the reason this wouldn't get made today, not because Tom Hanks is a straight man playing a gay guy. I do want, and I think this article and the next one, so I don't know if you want to wait. That one is just so absurd. But I am curious what you think about, because this is a common topic with us, right? Where do we draw the lines in who can play what? Now, I definitely think, and then I want to hear your take, I definitely think that there are racial crossovers that are not cool, like John Wayne playing Genghis Khan, which is just a terrible casting choice outside of it being Yellowface, let alone like he didn't anyway. Or
do you know the terrible legacy of that movie too is how many people associated with it died from radiation poisoning, I think, or radiation sickness. So because they shot that movie not too far from where they were doing nuclear bomb testing.
In what country?
Oh, this was like in like Arizona or New Mexico or something.
Was it America?
Yeah,
oh my God. Okay.
And so they shot a lot of the movie near there. So a lot of people died of cancer. And then to make things worse, they had to reshoot some scenes. So what they did was they brought back a lot of dirt to the studio backlot. So even more people died from.
Oh my God, they brought the radioactive dirt.
Yeah, to LA.
Oh my God, I did
so like
not
the whole
know
movie
that.
is just like everything about it is just like radioactive and toxic, like everything about it.
That is so crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, and then the other classic one, of course, is it Mickey Rooney who
Yes, he
played
played an Asian
in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Very not just playing an Asian, like really fucking offensive. Yeah, I did appreciate because I watched that recently. I read the book, or I guess it's a novella. Truman Capote, fantastic, highly recommend. I think we talked about it on the show. I can't remember exactly. Excellent short story. It like made Truman Capote a household name and famous, which is crazy just from like one novella. Then of course came this movie, and the character's a small role. He's like a neighbor of Holly Golightly, who's the protagonist, or one of them. And he's like the wet blanket, like constantly complaining at her parties and stuff like that. And it's a super racist caricature. What I do appreciate was, however I watched it last, I don't know what streaming service it was, but like they didn't cut it out, but they did give something in the beginning, like, look, basically my paraphrasing, times were different. It's offensive stereotype, but we're gonna, keep it in for whatever reason, because it's, history of cinema, whatever it is, right? So I say all that to say, like, and then of course the obvious one is like white people doing blackface, totally not cool. I get that history there. It also just is stupid. Like, what was the example is who unless it's comedic, I want to get into that too. So maybe not okay, but who played Othello?
Denzel Washington.
No. This was a white guy.
I'm sorry. I think Macbeth. Sorry, I was thinking of the other.
No.
Othello.
Well, I'm blanking now, and someone's going to yell at us. But anyways, I keep on saying Dom DeLuise. It's very obviously not Dom DeLuise, but a very famous actor who played. It wasn't. Who was it? Citizen Kane?
Oh, Orson Welles.
Was it Orson Welles or no? I don't think it was actually. Anyway, it's blackface. He's playing. He's blackface. So that not cool. But I feel like we're starting to draw the lines way too close to, like, they're actors. Like they're acting. They're not always going to play their exact demographic. And I think we're going to get to a point where it's like, well, this character is Cuban American, and you have a Puerto Rican American portraying him. Like, do we really want to go that route? So on the racial side of it, because then we're going to get into more other sides of it with the next article, but racial or sexual, which I think even less important, because I mean, sexuality isn't like you can't just see it, like you can race. So where do you think, where do you land on this?
I feel similarly. But it's kind of a weird thing because like, obviously, like you said, like, these are actors, like, of course, like, they're getting hired to play someone that they're not. But there is sort of like a weird, like, it's like you brought up an interesting point about how, like, we will get upset if we see a white actor playing a black character, but we won't get quite as upset about a gay man or a straight man playing a gay man or something like that. Or it seems like it's less egregious. Which I wish at the very least that people who are demanding for more authentic representation in films and TV shows would at least put a limiting principle on their demands, because it does seem so actually in the article, it's not from the New York Times, but this is from Cinema Blend that quotes the Tom Hanks thing. There's a quote here. While there's still work to be done in regard to representation, there is progress being made. For instance, later this year, Billy Eichner's Bros, it's a movie called Bros, will make history for featuring an all LGBTQ plus cast, with said actors also playing the straight roles. So it's like,
oh, really?
Yeah. So we're going to get upset about a straight man playing a gay man. That's bad. But a gay actor playing a straight character, that's okay. That's where it starts. That's when I start to get more annoyed. Where it's like, okay,
and it turns people off.
Yeah,
it's an overcorrection.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, even people who, I'm not saying I even think this, but even people who are like, all right, I can get on board with if it's a gay character, and it's not just that it's a gay character. Like in Philadelphia, it's very important that he's a gay character, right? It's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't just be like, oh, he's a gay character, but it doesn't really have much to do with who he is. That's the huge plot point of the entire movie. People, I could see people agreeing with that. But then it's like, and also gay people are going to play straight characters now. And it's like, wait, that turns off so many people. I mean, that was kind of the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter thing in a nutshell. And both sides, it's a miscommunication. If Black Lives Matter just put a 2 at the end of it, as in also like Black Lives Matter 2, it wouldn't have been an argument. But it was Black Lives Matter to the detriment of non-Black lives. That's how some people treated it, and a lot of people took it. And it's all just messaging. It's really dumb. So like that Cinema Blend article is another. It's like you're going to turn so many people off who actually are like understanding your point.
Right.
So
yeah, it was frustrating because, you know, like I'm sure most of the writers at Cinema Blend are probably pretty woke, but I'll give them credit. I was giving them credit at first because they were saying like, yeah, you know, we can see both sides of the argument. Like, yeah, they're actors, they're playing people they shouldn't, that they aren't in real life. That's what acting is. However, you know, we can't deny that historically LGBTQ folks have been largely, you know, underrepresented and blah blah blah. So I'll say, all right, okay, you're at least kind of looking at both sides, and you're talking about how complicated it is. And then when she says that this is progress, it's progress that LGBTQ folks will be playing straight will be playing straight characters. It's like, okay, all right,
like, there's going to be a backlash. Like, what are you not getting? And that's, you know, it's not because we're talking about. I also want to make the distinction. There's a difference between Black or gay or whatever characters, and then there's the actor. So like, you can change a character. For instance, like you just said, Macbeth, right? Like the new Macbeth is Denzel Washington. He's not wearing whiteface, right? Like, but he is playing a traditionally white character. That's different. I think it's a different artistic, decision. I'm fine with that. Now, at the same time, that you would never see the reverse. I don't. You know, the reverse would be like a white actor playing a Black character but changing them to a white character. I can't even think of one that would really make sense off the top of my head. But if anything's totally going one way, I understand that historically there are way, way, way more white characters. So you do have to change some to create some diversity. I do understand that. But then when you start taking the straight characters and not turning them into, let's say, gay characters, but keeping them straight by having gay actors play them, then people are like, well, it's getting a lot more difficult for us to get work. You're keeping our characters, but then replacing us with, and it can't go vice versa, but replacing us with the more diverse actor. Like, you see how there's going to be backlash. My opinion is, on all of this, I think most actors and actresses can play whoever they want if they're right for the role. That means changing some characters to fit, like to make a character who's white, let's say in the book, because a lot of shit's based on books, that's white in the book to Black. If you want to make the artistic decision, that's fine. If it makes sense, I don't think it should be to the detriment of the story. Or it should be just to like tokenize people either. It's like, well, we need a Black person, so let's throw one in here. Let's make this. But a lot of times it doesn't make sense, and it comes off as pandering. And a good example is like J.K. Rowling saying, well, you know, I never said Hermione wasn't Black or something like that. And then there are like passages where it's like her skin was ghost white or something like that. It's like, you see what you're doing. And then she was of course, the Robespierre of the fucking millennium. So, basically, but besides a couple distinctions, like white people wearing blackface or yellow face, stuff like that. I guess the reverse isn't as bad. I think it's dumb. Like White Chicks is the one people always bring up. I mean, it's a comedy. So I don't really care. At the same time, I don't think they should be cutting the Always Sunny episodes where they're doing blackface, making fun of people doing blackface. Like they are bad characters. They are bad people in the show making a bad decision. That's the joke. And yet they still cut those episodes from Hulu. That's where I'm like, you're not getting it.
Right. Yeah. And especially because if you know, I agree with you where it's like, yeah, if you want to make it, make changes to the race or the gender or identity of the character, and it's part of a creative decision, go for it. Yeah. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but at least you're doing it from a creative standpoint. But when it's all in the name of like this woke intersectional garbage, there's basically, even if you change the identity of a character for the sake of diversity, it's still really difficult to please the woke activist types. So to give you an example, in the first Doctor Strange movie, the character played by Tilda Swinton was historically, in the comics, is portrayed as Asian, but then they changed it to, it was an Asian man, but then they changed it to a white woman. And so they thought that they were, let's add a female, why not make her female? Make the character female. So, okay, cool, but you made her white though, so it's like, and it still pissed off the woke activist types.
Well, do you know why they did that?
I heard that part of it was for the China thing, right? Because I think the character was like from
Tibet. It was supposed to be a Tibetan monk. I don't know if it was, I'm assuming male, but because, and I think I talked about this on the show, but I'll recap it real quick. What pissed me off is that Vox made a really good video about how China is basically capturing Hollywood, right? They have a lot of money. They make, they have certain quotas that they only allow a certain amount of American films into their population. So there is a limited amount of spots, and all the companies, studios want those spots because they make a shit ton of money. Now, because of that, there will be branding and things in the movies that really don't make sense to us, or that we would just kind of look over, but are really big to them. And it does change some things, like certain certain like patches on a jacket, or a certain drink that a character is drinking. And that was one of them, where the Vox video accurately pointed out that this character, as you said, was supposed to be not only Asian, but a Tibetan monk. And Tibet has that's kind of fallen by the wayside compared to other activist causes with China, like Taiwan and Hong Kong, and now the Uyghurs. That used to be a big thing, like the 90s. I remember, like Rage Against the Machine was like free Tibet. Like that's a big thing, and everyone just kind of fucking forgot about it because it wasn't popular anymore. But they changed it from a Tibetan monk to a white, like Irish woman who is still the same. And so then though, what pisses me off is that then during the Great Awakening, or right around there, Vox, so the same company, goes and makes a video about whitewashing movies and uses that example. I'm like, did you not? No, you pointed out why they did that. Now it wasn't to make someone white because it would please American audiences. They made them white to please Chinese audiences.
Right.
So yeah, it was really frustrating. It's like either that person, there's no oversight on that, or you're just being willfully ignorant of your own content.
Yeah. But it's I understand how complicated it can be, and I also try not to be dismissive of people. I can see why somebody say, hey, why, in the movie, like this character is portrayed as this, but then you got a different actor. Like, how come you couldn't find another actor of that same ethnicity or whatever? It's like I understand some aspect of the lack of authenticity and representation argument, but still ultimately, like the artistic side of me comes out and it's just like, no, you don't like it, then don't fucking watch it. Then support filmmakers who you think are doing a better job of representation. Go support them.
So my concern is that it starts to become so like just with the skin color thing. I'm thinking of the movie, I think it's called Rosewater. It had to do with Iran. And
did Jon Stewart direct that one?
I don't remember. I don't know, but it had like Gael Garcia Bernal, who's like Latino, playing the main Iranian character. Right. Which I'm fine with that. Like, I don't care. He's a good actor. It was a good movie, I think. But like, just because they're both kind of brown, like, it's okay. I don't think that's the route we should be going. Right. I agree with you. I like I always say, whether it's writing characters, because that applies to me much more. I'm not casting films, but I do write novels. And if I write a character that is not a, straight white male from New Jersey, then I think I should be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But if someone else who's from that culture or whatever it is, from that area of the country, from that culture, whatever it is, if they criticize inauthenticity, that's on me, and I'm fine with that too.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? It's never about not, in my view, and I think our view is, it's never about not making the art. It's, well, you should be able to make it, but it can also be criticized. Then
right.
What are those criticisms? If the criticism is you can't write this because you're this, well, no, I don't even give that a second thought. It's, well, you didn't write this accurately, and here's why. Well, that's totally different.
Right. Well, and it's also part of another bigger trend that we're seeing, that we've been seeing for the last few years. Like this thing of like, we have to dig up problematic movies and TV shows and books and talk about why they're problematic today. And it's like, I don't see the value in that, really. Like, it's okay to bring up when it's relevant, but it's like we have to constantly excavate every little thing and show like, oh, this would not be made today, and that's why it shouldn't be made today. It's like, oh, come on. Like,
so if you're saying I don't see the value in it,
no.
Artistically, yeah, I agree with you. I don't see the value in it at all. I 100% see the value in it, because look at what we're doing. We're talking about it because I believe that Tom Hanks interview was about Elvis, right? Is he in it? Is he in Elvis or doing something, producing it? But I wouldn't have known that. Maybe they say that in like one sentence. We're talking about it, and because the New York Times reporter knows that this shit is what people talk about and get fired up about, I think rightfully so. So that's why Tom Hanks didn't bring it up. The reporter brought it up, and Tom Hanks wasn't going to go, I don't want to talk about that. Because most people, they just kind of, and Tom Hanks is very like established. He's kind of as establishment as it gets, right? Establishment Hollywood as it gets. So he's just going to say the liberal establishment woke thing to say, crit thing to say, which is, that won't get made today. And like not only that wouldn't get made today, rightfully so, he says it wouldn't get made today. And so that's why people excavate and bring stuff up, because I guess talking about the new Elvis movie isn't interesting enough, but talking about why something that came out in the 90s, I believe, right?
It was 93.
93 is. So.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next related thing?
It's so good. So look, I don't want to be mean. Yes, I'm using an ad blocker. Go away. I don't know why that just popped up. I don't want to be mean. So here's where I want to start. And usually I don't do this. This is a very kind of touchy issue now, which I don't get. I don't think you should like. So this is about fat phobia, air quotes, fat phobia,
right?
So-called fat phobia. I think like this writer in here is doing the very classic centering herself in a cultural article, right? And the first fucking sentence of this is, sorry, there's now all the ads are popping up. Okay. When I saw actress Emma Thompson in a fat suit, the shame of being picked last in PE suddenly came flooding back. So from that first sentence, you can imagine where this article is going. This person was bullied for being fat. I think that's wrong, right? That's wrong and shitty, and I'm sorry she went through that. However, this article reads like satire and something that I would write to make fun of people like this. Do you want to summarize it, or would you like me to?
You can go for it.
So apparently they're remaking Matilda.
I guess it's a musical.
And Emma Thompson, who is, I guess, I don't even know. I'd probably be in trouble for saying in shape or not fat or whatever it is, like who is a not fat person, or not larger person, whatever. I remember big boned was a thing. Remember when they tried to make that a thing, and then it's like, well, that's actually not scientifically accurate. But So basically, Emma Thompson, who is playing the fictional headmistress, who's like mean and evil, like the antagonist, Agatha Trunchbull, was wearing a fat suit in it, which I don't really see it in this picture. I don't know if that's her, but she's not being herself. The writer says fat suits have been so normalized that some people haven't even noticed, and that is what's so frustrating. She lists some times that other people have worn fat suits. I know pretty famously the Friends, Monica and Friends wears one. And then, of course, the Shallow Hal. That's what it's all about, like seeing her for who she is, which is the very attractive Gwyneth Paltrow, not for the fat suit wearing Gwyneth Paltrow. What I don't really get here is so she used a lot of anecdotal evidence, like someone kind of huffing and puffing or taking a deep breath when she sits next to them on a plane, or really things that just look like what Kim Katiti, one of our guests, had said. She's like kind of looking for microaggressions everywhere. And so basically she's saying that this is just all wrong and terrible. And what I'm not understanding, though, is that this character is supposed to be what she says grotesque and unattractive. Like, that is the character, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Have you seen Matilda?
The old one with Danny DeVito and Ben Shapiro's cousin.
Ben Shapiro's cousin.
Yeah, the chick who plays Matilda is Ben Shapiro's cousin.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny because she's super woke, and she even publicly said that she doesn't acknowledge Ben Shapiro. Like she'll never talk to him or anything like that.
I didn't know that was Ben Shapiro's cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, did I just exit that? So I do want to read some of what this person says. So she says this, and this is mean. I shouldn't laugh, but in primary school, a boy used to call me Emmy the elephant. He'd follow me around the playground, waddling and making trumpet noises. It's mean, but it's also a fucking like 10-year-old or something. Like it's a kid being a shitty kid. Over here, I was 10, and while I can laugh about it now with my self-esteem, so she can even laugh about it now. So somehow she makes it about herself. But again, it's wrong. If my child did that, I would get I would say that's not okay. You have to apologize. It's wrong. Like,
put them up for adoption.
Yes, I'd kick them out. But this whole like the plus size community, and I think that like different people are plus size for different reasons. I don't understand how the trust the science crowd and like get the vaccine, trust the science crowd is also like fat is healthy. Like, it's fucking not. That's scientifically inaccurate and medically inaccurate. That doesn't mean, and I'm going to anticipate the argument that's like, well, really skinny people aren't healthy either. Yes, I agree. Like heroin chic in the 90s and stuff, it was also extremely unhealthy. No one is saying that it is. It has its own health problems. But to say that someone who's obese, which, by the way, I also disagree with some of those distinctions. I was called obese not that long ago by my doctor. She even called me. She had the fucking nuts to tell it to me. She handed me some chart and just kind of like pointed at it. And I was like, I'm like 6 foot 170, 175 maybe at the time. And it was like, basically, no, you're obese. Well, okay, so I understand some of these distinctions maybe need to change. What is obese? What's realistic? But like, to say it's healthy it's just not accurate. And it's gotten so crazy that now, like, Adele, I know, and Rebel Wilson, who's lost a lot of weight, they like get flack for losing weight.
I know,
It's better for your it's better for your joints. It's better for your heart and your lungs and all of these things. And like,
they got super hot too.
I guess, like, I don't, and that's another part of this is the whole the attractiveness to it. So different strokes for different folks. Some people like bigger partners, right? And that's fine. That's good. Some people like much skinnier. Some people like short. Some people like tall.
Right.
Some people only like dating like certain races. Now, I was never like that. I don't have a type. I don't know if you do. I genuinely do not have a type. But it seems like that's one of those that one always struck me as weird. It's like, oh no, I don't date this kind of person. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like to me, beauty is beauty.
Right.
Like good looking is good looking. Beauty is beauty.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you have a certain type, and preferences I think are fine. Like, of course they are. But to say that like you have to find this attractive is very strange to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's funny because like they'll criticize the people being attracted to slimmer, healthy, slimmer, more athletic, or just like slimmer people. They'll criticize and be like, oh, like you're discriminated against whatever, and you're just upholding society's standards of beauty by only. But then at the same time, like they're totally cool with forcing you to find overweight people attractive, and it's like, what do you do? It's such a weird thing. It's like like I'm upset with you for doing this thing that you're not actually doing, but I'm going to do the thing that I'm actually accusing you of doing. It's really annoying, but it's like that's a super hypocritical thing that's so typical of all the woke stuff anyway.
Well, like this paragraph kind of sums it up again. Just somehow this is about her, and I guess I kind of write like this sometimes too. I do think some writers, like if everyone just wrote in the kind of academic third person, it loses personality. So I get that. Like I can be anecdotal in some of my writing.
Sure.
I do think there's a place for that, but it's right here. It's I remember seeing so many slimmer girls being picked for sports or chatted up in clubs purely based on the idea that their body fitted into the right mold that society had cast for my gender for generations. I don't know. Maybe they got picked for sports because they can run faster or have better dexterity or better athletes, or not. Or maybe they're totally shitty athletes and you do have to prove them wrong. But if I'm picking someone, if I'm 11 and I'm picking someone for a race, I'm probably going to pick the skinnier girl, assuming that she's faster. And maybe she's not. Maybe she's a klutz and trips over her own 2 feet. But I don't think that should be like the benchmark for or the standard for what makes like why they pick them over you. It's not necessarily because you're fat. It's because they need an athlete or they're looking for a sexual partner being chatted up at the clubs and they find that person more attractive. That's not society. Like I think society I do think there are culture pushes certain types of attractiveness, but like if someone is attracted to larger women and society is saying, let's say it's the mid 90s where it's heroin chic and as skinny as possible, like I don't think they're just going to go try to get numbers for really skinny girls if that's not what they actually like. I don't believe that. In society, I do sometimes think like right now it's been the thing, like butts are in, like big butts. Like white girls did not used to have big butts. That was not a thing. And now white girls have big butts. And I do think part of that is culture. What do the musicians have? What do the actors have? That's fine. But like, I think actually there was a time during, I don't know, the medieval ages, Renaissance, whatever, where bigger women were more desirable because they could eat. They had food. Whiter women, paler women, I should say, not white, but pale, which could be unattractive, considered attractive because they didn't have to work in the fields or whatever it was. They could stay inside. So I get how culture does that too. And in that sense, it was larger, plumper women.
Right. No, it's so much of this is just emotional projection. I guess it's like, so I have a note here. So here's a quote from the article. It's not ethical, authentic, or representative of any lived experiences whatsoever. It's like
buzzword.
I know.
Sometimes I count them.
Exactly. So I just wrote like, who gives a shit? It's fiction. It's cartoony. It's Matilda. It's a fantasy. Like, why does it have to be based on lived experience?
which I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, is a redundant fucking term I can't stand.
Right.
Oh, I also want to say real quick, we should always say this is in Metro.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Metro. It's all, if you were wondering, the Metro. Yeah, the Metro letterhead is in the, I don't even call it the pride flag anymore because it's not the pride flag. The intersectional flag is what I call it.
Yeah.
This is what it is. It's not the pride flag. And this is Emmy Harrison West. This is from June 20th of this year. So just in case people want to check it out. I don't know. Do we post a link for that? I don't know if you post a link for that in the
yeah,
whatever.
We can do that. Yeah.
So anyway, I think the two areas where the people are just trying to ascend the victimization pyramid is mental health. I think a lot of people who don't have mental health issues or nothing that the vast majority of people deal with, they use that to, which I find very offensive because people very close to me have legitimate mental health issues or disabilities or neurodivergent, whatever you want to fucking call it. So to people, and I think a lot of, and I don't think it's a surprise that it's the vast majority of the time like white women. I think they want to always kind of center themselves and be as high on the victimization pyramid as possible. I think that's one of them is mental health, and then I think this is the other one is the fat what's it called? What's
acceptance, body positivity,
which body, like, it's one of those things where body positivity I think is good. Like that's a good term, just like Black Lives Matter is a good term, but that's not what it is. Because it's one of those things that it's about language and it's inarguable. Like you can't argue against Black Lives Matter. Like of course Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah. Or of course body positivity. Like I've personally dealt with body issues and it is tough. And I actually think this is one of those areas where men suffer a lot and they don't get credit for it. They don't get the help. I really don't think they do. Like I understand where if you're seeing Baywatch, that's such a I don't know why I wasn't even old enough for Baywatch, but like unrealistic expectations for women. Yeah, I get that. But like, what about fucking Jason Momoa or I can't even name another actor right now, but like guys with 6-pack abs and stuff who are like extremely good, and like Channing Tatum and these guys who, a lot of the vast majority of men don't look like that. And we don't complain about it, but I do think it affects our psyche too. But it's like, and then the argument would be, well, dad bod's a thing. Well, that's good. Some women like dad bod. I think that's great. And just like some men like thicker women, that's great too. What I always say, if everyone liked the same shit, if everyone wanted to eat the same foods and live in the same neighborhoods and things like that, everything would suck. It'd be crowded and overexpensive. So at the same time, I think, like usual, the crits go too far. And I understand. So, okay, so let's pose the same question. I'll pose the same question to you. What do you think of fat suits? Or thin people playing bigger characters?
I don't mind it at all.
You don't mind it, okay?
Generally speaking, I think it would depend on the tone of the film and the role. So for this, because it's Matilda, it's a musical, it's fantastical, it's silly. I have no problems with a slimmer actor putting on a fat suit because, like, well, it's meant to be kind of whimsical and silly and playful. And she didn't want to put on 60 pounds. We thought that she was perfect for the role, but she didn't want to put on the pounds. So we gave her a fat suit so she'd better inhabit the character. I can see some cases where it's if it's a more serious role and it's sort of like, okay, it's why not just find a heavier actor to play that? But I don't know. I'm sure I could find exceptions to it. I mean, for example, so Jim Carrey was initially tapped to play Curly in the Three Stooges movie, and then he ended up backing out.
Was he the bald one?
The fat bald one, yeah.
Well, that was the joke, right? He was called Curly, but he didn't have hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was going to play Curly, and I could see Jim Carrey doing that because Curly was a really wacky animated guy, and so it's like, okay, yeah, Jim Carrey would be perfect for it, but he either has to put on weight or put on a fat suit, and of course neither happened. But I can see that happening where it's like if he did don a fat suit because he didn't want to put on the pounds, but it's like he was also perfect for that role. It's like, okay, I can see that. That's fine. It's a wacky comedy. But
I don't know how I feel necessarily. So if like I catch myself doing sometimes, I actually will agree with some of what the crits are saying, but not for the same reasons.
Right.
Like I'll hate Donald Trump for totally different reasons, even though we both might hate Donald Trump. Like in this case, I might just not like fat suits because I think they look stupid. Where I'm totally cool with an actor like Christian Bale or Jared Leto gaining weight to play that character, because has that been criticized? Because that's next.
is that fat faced?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, because the argument will be, well, they can lose the weight because they're not naturally fat or whatever it is. I'm not even kidding. Like this will come back, because fat suits I think are going to go by the wayside. I'm actually surprised that they do still exist. I think they look kind of dumb in movies like Shallow Hal and Friends. Like those are the two off the top of my head. So I do think they're going to be gone, and like usual, there always has to be something for them to bitch about, and that's going to come next. Is while actors can't gain or lose weight for the role, you have to just hire someone of that size.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there have been actors who were very successful and they were, heavier. I mean, John Goodman and
of course,
what's his face?
I think the argument's more for women, though. I think
that's right.
I think that's what they're saying. I don't think it's really men, so maybe those weren't good examples. I don't. Can you think of any men in fat suits off the top of your head?
Eddie Murphy, like in the Nutty Professor movies, and in Norbit.
They almost get a pass though. Like I don't know why there's always this kind of crossover between British and Black American and like cross-dressing, like men playing women. I know that's not what you're saying, but I was thinking Tyler Perry. Like kind of it's a cross-dressing and I think kind of a fat suit, like larger, right?
Yeah.
And Norbit would be one. I don't know. Would Norbit get made today with are you sure he didn't just gain weight? He did.
I'm quite. Oh yeah,
He was very fat, right? It was like a joke. It was like comically fat.
Yeah, because I think Norbit was actually nominated for an Oscar for best makeup. I think.
Oh man! All right.
It's so weird when like a shitty like god awful movie that critics and audiences hate, but it's like, yeah, but there is a technical element that was actually really good about it. We got to give it some Oscar love.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any other men wearing fat suits. At all. But I think the argument is about women. And I don't think they're going to be around much longer. I also it's one of those things, like I don't really care if you're an actor, you transform sometimes as an actor. And this character is supposed to be terrible. Like she's the fucking antagonist. If I'm remembering correctly from the one Ben Shapiro's cousin. I'm blanking on her name. She was like a famous kid actor, right? She didn't do much as an adult.
Yeah, because she was also in Mrs. Doubtfire.
She was even younger than that.
Mara Wilson. Mara.
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking something else.
It's funny that you look at her and you're like, oh shit, she actually, I can see a little bit of resemblance between her and Ben Shapiro. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah.
So in that regard, like I kind of see what this person is saying. I just don't think she has to put herself in any of this and start talking about like how she's not getting picked for gym class. Like, I mean, look at athletes, unless they're like offensive linemen or certain like shot put throwers or something like that. Like they're usually slimmer people or muscular or whatever it is. They're generally not. I mean, her words like fat.
Yeah.
So
and here's the thing: like, it doesn't bother me at all that there are I'm definitely not someone who's like, well, that was a good movie, but the lead actor was fat. I didn't care for that. Like that never bothered me. I never once said like, man, Philip Seymour Hoffman, he should lose weight, or John Goodman,
you're right, and I agree. Like John Goodman, Philip Seymour, these are my favorite actors. But women. Now, my argument would be, who one of my favorite female actors is?
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah, she's great. She's wonderful.
She's fantastic, and she's not what the term they would use, like traditionally beautiful.
Right.
She's not right. Like, but she is I've actually been meaning to write an article about Kathy Bates. I think she's incredible. Yeah. Always a fantastic performance, and like right there you have it. And people like, I don't think Kathy Bates wasn't getting certain roles because the character called for like a 22-year-old slim blonde because that's the character. But she still plays. She won an Oscar, right?
Yeah.
For
Misery.
Misery. Yeah. So I don't know. This person's stupid.
She should have gotten an Oscar for the Water Boy.
Should have. I mean, classic character. That movie's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of my dad's favorite movies.
I loved it.
It's great. He finds it pretty powerful.
That's powerful.
Yeah, my sister was getting into an argument with my dad about a movie that they should watch. This was years ago. I said, "Yeah, I want to watch a movie," and he's like, "Yeah, let's watch Waterboy." She goes, "No, I want to watch like a serious movie because that is a serious movie. Like when they're making fun of him and he pees on those sheets and everything, and he's like, he thought it was like a legit drama."
That's good. Your dad sounds like a character.
Yeah, whatever.
So, are we done with this article? Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Should we discuss? So, speaking of larger women, we had an intersectional pretzel. It's a couple of weeks old now, but I like to keep with the segments. This was Lizzo, who is large and proud, right? I feel like she's kind of the face of body positivity, and again, it works for her. That's fine. Especially like if that's your brand, whatever, like that is fine. I don't think anyone really has a problem with that. It's when if Lizzo decided to lose a bunch of weight, that should be fine too. I guarantee you would not. Another is and also it's kind of forced compliance with no, you have to say that she's beautiful. Like if you don't think she's beautiful, you're fat phobic. It's like if you won't have sex with a trans person with a penis, even though they're trans woman, like then you're transphobic. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like when did these become the rules?
Right.
I think that's more of it. And that's where really the crits start to become, I mean, that is what the crits are. It's this forced compliance where it's not, it used to be tolerance and acceptance. That's far from what it's become. Now it's no, you have to think this also, or else you are labeled X, Y, and Z. So anyway, the intersectional pretzel. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but like if a trans person were to say, I would never have sex with a cis person, then it's like you go they.
Yes.
Yeah,
you go they. What is? I get the from a logical perspective, right? I get the they them, right? If it's they, it's that. Like, what's she they?
That always confuses me. It's like pick one, like,
and shouldn't it be she them? Even with that, even within this own logical logic, but like I'm so confused. Like if it's they, then it should be them. If it's she her, why would it be she they, or why wouldn't it then at least be she them?
Right. Yeah, it seems that illiteracy is becoming another symptom of wokeness. But it's just sort of like, that always confuses me. It's like, okay, like you can call me by binary pronouns or non-binary pronouns. It's like, what the fuck? Fucking pick one.
What are non-binary pronouns?
They, like, right? Like, isn't that?
I have no fucking idea.
Or someone who does not identify as a male or a female.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I've seen a list of those. I'm using them, and I've used them in my last book and in this book. It's a dystopian future, but okay. I see what you're saying now. Right. So anyway, getting to Lizzo's intersectional pretzel, where actually I'm defending Lizzo here. So what happened was Lizzo came out with a song, and she uses the term spaz, which is like as milquetoast a term as I could think of for anything. A spaz, like we called each other spazzes all the time growing up. I never knew I had any like mental neurodivergent connotation to it. I thought it was just you're acting like a spaz and you're being like kind of frantic and weird, right? Like, so she has that and she uses that in a song. Obviously not thinking it's controversial or else she wouldn't have used it, right?
Yeah.
And what's the community? I guess neurodivergent, non-ableist, or disabled, because we don't say disabled anymore. Not able. I don't know. I can't keep up. But them got very upset with her, and to the point where she, of course, issued a Twitter apology and took and removed the lyric from the song.
Yeah.
That would just be a normal kind of crit pillory if that was the end of the story. But where it becomes intersectional pretzel was then the African American community came to Lizzo's defense, saying, well, actually, in the AAVE, the African American Vernacular English, we use spaz in this way, in this like the way my African American community used it. I'm kidding there. We use it to mean like this kind of neutral, whatever. Like we're not making fun of a neurodivergent person. We're just saying you're acting like a spaz, right? And you, as overwhelmingly like white Twitterati, Reddit, whatever, Tumblr group, are being, white supremacist colonizers, whatever, trying to change our vernacular. That's where the intersectional pretzel comes in. It's delicious. Unfortunately, I wish Lizzo had just stuck to her guns or not apologized. She did, but so this is why intersectionality is stupid, and this is usually the case with a lot of these the word police, the wrong think group is overwhelmingly white, young progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call them, in this sense, who go into other people's cultures like Latinx, like LGBTQI plus, who, again, I think it's another one where people are just trying to ascend the pyramid by adding the plus, by saying like they're straight people who are calling themselves queer just because it's cool to be queer. Like, no, that doesn't like, and that add that to the, I think like very illegitimate kind of area where the crits are just trying to expand because you always have to outwoke each other.
Right.
There's like the victimize yourself, I guess.
Yeah, it's so funny that that the ones who criticize the white savior trope the most are the ones who are acting out the white savior trope the most in real life, where it's like, I'm an ally for all these groups. It's like, fuck off. Like, it's just, this doesn't concern you. It's so funny.
It was white fucking crits in Portland and Seattle and stuff, like yelling at black cops, like calling them Uncle Toms and coons and like really offensive terms. Or it's, even stat like Keith Olbermann, we just saw on Twitter, who's losing his shit. Of course, he would be Mr. Gender equality, all that shit. And he's criticizing the Supreme Court, and he says fuck off to all the male Supreme Court justices, and then says the same to Amy Coney Barrett, but calls her a paralegal, which is like a traditionally female profession. While the men are overwhelmingly attorneys. I don't think that's the case anymore, but or that's the way it's going. But like that was it for years. Just like women were secretaries, they weren't the girl bosses yet. So but Keith Olbermann's an ally, right? Because he says shit about Joe Rogan and Trump or whatever it is. So of course it does. So yeah, it's never about identity. It's about ideology.
Right.
You can call I'll always come back to it because it was the epitome of it. You can call Larry Elder the black face of white supremacy because he's a conservative.
Right.
So it's not about your values. It's not about race. It's about ideology.
I love all of this intersectional crap Like it's so hilarious.
Tasty. They're delicious.
It's
Are there any others? Do you have any for me? I haven't seen recently.
No. Well, if this particular episode of the podcast goes viral, it'll probably bring shame upon these people. So there's a movie that I can't even say the name because it has the N word.
Why?
It has the N word.
The title of the movie has the N word in it.
Yeah.
So just say that.
I'll just say Negro.
Okay, say Negro.
So this came out in 1992. It's a short film, 26 minutes. It's called Gay Negroes from Outer Space.
Is it a hard R?
Yes.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's made by black guys. I
would hope so.
And so like the whole casting crew is all just gay guys, like these gay black guys. It's not a porn. But it's like
I don't want to watch it.
I know exactly, but I think that if this movie were to come out today, it would confuse the hell out of the wokies because it would be like it's got the N word in it, but it's made by black people, but it's also making fun of gays. It's got gay stereotypes. But here's the premise of the film. So it's these gay black guys in space. It's super low budget. It looks like like Star Trek looks like a Marvel movie compared to this. It's so bad. It's like these gay black guys in space, and they're going around the different planets, and they're destroying women because women because women are always like giving men a hard time, making men's lives terrible. So like these gay black alien dudes, they land on Earth and they're going to different countries. So they're making fun of all just stereotypes, just racial stereotypes the whole time. So there's this guy in China, and he's being yelled at by these Asian women, but they didn't have real like. For the sounds of the Asian women yelling, they put cats meowing. It's really bizarre. And like I was like the Asian women, they're just yelling at this poor guy, and then like the gay black guy comes and he shoots the two the Asian women, he vaporizes them, and then like the guys hug each other. Then they go to like Mexico, and then they go to America. And it's like, they're going around just destroying the women population. It's really weird.
So it's gay black guys going around killing women.
Yeah.
Because women are always giving men a hard time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Like how do you untangle that?
Yeah. I want to watch this now. You said like 26 minutes.
Yeah,
how did you even find this?
My roommate's cousin sent it to him, and he's like, "Dude, just type this into Google." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go into incognito mode. I don't know what this is." So it's actually up on 90s? YouTube. Yeah, 92.
Okay, I'll watch it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, but my thing is that it didn't quite go far enough. It was just like you guys went so extreme. You should, but maybe just because it's super low budget, but it's
didn't go far enough.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I gave you the juiciest bits. It's a very slow movie, so maybe to be shorter. Maybe it was just the runtime that
26 minutes was too long.
There's a lot of exposition, unfortunately. I think dilutes the true significance of the film.
All right,
but that's one of those movies.
We should write the sequel.
Oh man, but it's one of those things where it's just like what a grenade to throw into the woke agenda. It's like, here, what do you think of that? It's like
it would literally kill. Like when they say this would be literal violence. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People would die watching this movie.
Because it's like anti-woman, but it's also pro-black, but it's pro-gay, but it's also gay stereotypes, but it's making fun of racial stereotypes. It's just like
that's why it's fun. That's why it's provocative art. That's what's good about it.
I mean, this should have been like a South Park episode of just like we're just gonna make fun of everybody, and
that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah. But and real quick, I want to say something about the about how language is getting harder and harder to keep up with, like which words are appropriate and which ones aren't.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. So I'm going to say something when you're finished.
Yeah. So I applied to be a writer for Screen Rant, just for the hell of it, because it's similar to the stuff that I write with my other jobs. So maybe this will be easy. And I decided. So I submitted some samples, and they really liked them. I'm like, okay, cool. So the next step is we're gonna have you do a training course. And it's like, this is how the site works. This is sort of like the formatting, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And there was a sensitivity section, And it was really bad. And I usually don't drink during the weeks. I usually just drink on the weekends. But I was doing this on like a Wednesday night, and then I was like, all right, I gotta have a beer. And then like that led to like 2 or 3 more beers because they were doing that thing where like you have to watch like a short video, like a 30-second video, but you couldn't like click away. Like it would pause if you clicked away. So it's like you had to sit there and like actually endure it.
Sure.
So I needed something to do while I was watching this thing.
Can you give me some examples?
Yes, I will give you one particular example. So I thought able-bodied was the politically correct term for someone who is not disabled. I thought that's what it's like. Okay, you're not normal, you're not, whatever. It's your able-bodies. Okay, no, the correct term is non-disabled. We have to center disabled people, and everyone else has to adjust for them.
Non-disabled.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What are some others?
That was the worst one. But everything was exactly. But getting back to the disability thing. So disabled was not good. They were getting very particular about how to describe if someone had a disability. So you can't say somebody was suffering from schizophrenia. It was like they had schizophrenia because like you didn't know if they're suffering or not.
Oh my god, they're fucking suffering. It's schizophrenia. Like, holy shit, really?
Yeah.
To me, that's the opposite of what you should be saying. Schizophrenia should be like discussed more as something people suffer from, so they can get help. Right. That is so the opposite of it's like fucking California. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like it's so the opposite of this like left-wing libertarianism that goes too far. That's like, no, they just have to be free and live their life. She's like, no, these people are suffering. Yeah, like it sucks. They have a war going on in their fucking head. And by saying like by saying they have it instead of suffering from it, like one, you're just farting into a glass and sniffing it, and two, it's like that's so the opposite of actually how it should be. And it really bothers me. Like, no, I could see where. So, for like autism, for instance, I could see where it's people go too far with trying to cure autism. Like I know Autism Speaks gets criticized for that. I think sometimes rightfully so. Like I think more resources should go to people with autism and on the spectrum like that. Sure. And it should be people should get more help because it is like more difficult to live with. That's why it's a disability. Right. But to say like but also like to be to say like, oh, you have to cure it, like that's one thing. So if you're saying like, but like schizophrenia is not autism. Like schizophrenia is a terrifying thing that people do suffer from. Like these are not equivalent. So I don't know. That bothers me so much.
Yeah, it was insane. Like so much of it, like at best, was just useless. It's like, this doesn't help anybody, and at worst, is kind of like what you said. It's actually like making it like it's actually undoing a lot of the progress that's been made in terms of like destigmatizing mental health conditions. And that was another thing too. Is I think they said like you couldn't say that somebody had a condition. Like it's like you couldn't like if somebody was autistic, you could say that they were autistic, but like they didn't have autism. Or like there was something like it was just so like what's the point here? Like it was just
it's all. So the point is it's not a good one. It's that the progressive, and this is where so many people who actually like could do good work and could make differences in people's lives, the left wing and progressives, which I have many left wing views, but where I just diverge so far from them is they have this complex almost of being as extreme as possible and being having as many shibboleths as possible. That's what it's all about. And it's almost like they want to be a part of a constantly evolving, very restrictive club. That's why they make these little changes to language. One of the ones I can't stand went from homeless to the unhoused. Yes, they are synonymous. It's the same fucking thing. If anything, the unhoused sounds even dumber because it's like, well, not everyone lives in a house necessarily, but people live in an apartment or in a condo or whatever it is, have a home. So to me, it's like, but that's the new thing. Where if you say homeless, you're like, well, you're not keeping up, basically. So you're not one of us. That's what shibboleth is. It's just it's a kind of, it's almost like a passcode or something.
Yeah.
And the left wing does this so much, and it's so reductive and alienating and just really, really stupid. Where the point should be to help people. Like that's a good thing about left wing politics, is that at its core it wants to help people. How you go about doing that is where it gets off the rails. And there are legit people who are good, who have like actual ideas and policy, and then it's people who just want to change language so that they're feel good about themselves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about variations of this before, where it's like, a lot of these ridiculous woke ideas started off as something reasonable and compassionate, where it's like, okay, like, it's not good to go around making fun of fat people. Okay. And, sometimes people can be overweight for medical reasons that we're not privy to. We can't just say, oh, it's because they're lazy and stupid.
Biological.
Sure. Yeah. It's like, okay. Yeah. Like some, they're Black Lives Matter. Sure. Okay. I can see some value in that, but then it goes too extreme.
That's the best example. And that's like why we started this podcast. A huge reason was around that time.
Yeah.
Not around that time, like a year later when we saw it go on for a year. This is the example I always use. I went from, we don't want cops kneeling on someone's neck and murdering them, right? We agree that's bad. That led to white actresses apologizing for voicing Asian cartoon characters. Like that is where this went. And I'm referring there to Alison Brie, who I really like, apologizing for, I think, a character like BoJack Horseman or something. That's where this went, because everyone had to say their thing, and it was the reckoning. That's what it wasn't like. No, the policy here, the good thing would be stopping police brutality, not having police kill unarmed people and really torture them. That's bad. That's where we can all agree. But then it goes to tearing down statues of Abraham Lincoln, right? Yeah. Renaming schools, struggle sessions, telling white children that they are oppressors. That's where it gets fucking crazy. And a lot of that has to do with language. So what I said at the beginning, where, and if you have more to share, please do, because I'm very interested in this kind of stuff. But
I should have taken screenshots because I can't remember all the details.
Because those can go viral. Wait, so are you going to work at Screen Rant?
No.
Oh, okay.
I told them no.
Okay, that's good. You have your principles. I get it though, because you need to make a living, and they're really popular. But I don't see how, like, in the end, it'd probably be more effort and annoyance than it's worth.
I mean, I write for a pop culture website now, and there's definitely some woke policies there. But at least, first of all, they didn't make me take a sensitivity course. Also, the stuff that I write is mostly just sort of like listicle stuff. So it's like, okay, I'm just writing about movies. Like, there's nothing topical. I'm not trying to be controversial here. So there's never been a time where I was like, oh, which pronoun do I use, or which like, that's never come up. So it's like, all right, that's fine. They can have their woke principles, and as long as the stuff that as long as they don't force me to, as long as like I can make money and not have to worry about adhering to these things. But yeah, man.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is I've decided, and unless someone makes a really good argument for why I shouldn't say certain words, I've decided I'm not gonna stop saying any words that I currently say. Now, I don't say some words. I don't say the N word. I've stopped saying, I don't, even though it has a nice kick to it, I don't say faggot. Like, obviously I just did, but I don't say that, like, even comedically or really, I don't say that anymore. I try and change, I actually do understand the term comes from when they would, a fag was a stick, and a faggot like a bundle of sticks, and they would toss the sticks into the fire to burn people, and they'd also toss gay people. So there actually is real, like, history behind that, just like the N word. I don't personally, I don't really say retarded. And again, I'm saying these two to make this point, but I haven't said that really in a while. I think that, there are such things as like a fire retardant, like that's what it is, like a stop, like a cease thing. But I get it. It does have a very negative connotation, but I think those are the three. I don't and then I'm not counting like other slurs really, because I never really said them anyway.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I didn't, but like, I don't know. I like saying gay. I like saying something's gay. I grew up in the 90s. Gay has like, it meant something before it meant a gay person, and now it's like barely used for gay people. It used to mean happy. That just meant lame. And I've been told not to use lame, but like, lame. Like a lame duck, a lame thing. Like I'm not, because then it never stops. And you can't say spaz, and you can't say, and I don't like where that goes. So I've been told not to say spirit animal. I've been told not to say like tiger mom, even though I've heard these terms. I've heard of like Russian tiger moms, Indian tiger moms, Chinese tiger moms, Taiwanese, spirit animals, like somehow Native American cultural appropriation. Like, no, I'm not dealing with it. Because one, a Native person has never told me not to say it. One, I don't know any Native people. Two,
I can get away with it, okay?
Yeah, or legit ones. Like, yeah, all right, Philip. I know you're 1/16th Cherokee. Fuck off. Like you're not. Like you're fucking not Elizabeth Warren. But like I have to make a stand, and I'm not. I don't want to continue with this because I refuse to go down that slope. So yeah, and some makes a
Slope's
really
bad
good.
Word too.
Slope. right. Unless, and I'm open, you know, as an attorney, I'm open to good arguments. If there's a good argument why I shouldn't say a certain word, that's fine. I also think it's how you use the word. I've always said that. I think singing along to a rap song that uses the soft A N word, it's much different than pointing at a black person and calling them the N word. I obviously think there's a distinction. I think most people think that there's a distinction, but unfortunately, I don't. There's enough of a firestorm and repercussions, which I think are wrong, that don't see that distinction. And I'm not gonna bother fighting that.
Dude, you know, do you remember when this happened? This was like, this was a few years ago because I was still working at that place, and it was Kendrick Lamar. He was doing a concert, and he brought up a woman to sing along with him as a white woman. He just pulled up some random chick from the audience, and the song had the N word. She said the N word, and then he stopped, and he's like, "No, you can't say that word." It's like, well, then why'd you bring her up on the stage to sing along with you?
Did?
Like, yeah, such a dick move.
That's a huge dick move, and also like, I don't know. I know I've said this before. Like, there's this guy at these bar mitzvahs I would go to. I grew up in a very Jewish area, and his name was Monty, and he used to literally give out money at bar mitzvahs. He did trivia, and he just was a guy who knew a bunch of shit. It's really cool. Actually, I don't know if you really see that anymore today. But he would just say a topic. It'd be like NFL, Shakespeare, rap music, whatever it was, and he would just start asking trivia, and he would give like, I think, silver dollars maybe. I believe so. He just hand them out. And one of the answers to a question was the NWA, and my friend, and this was back in like 2003 maybe, and my friend raised his hand, and he calls him, and he's like, wait, I don't know if I can say it. And he's like, and Monty's like, no, you can say it. It's like a proper noun. Like, this is their, I think the question might have been like, what does NWA stand for, or who did this? I don't know. And I mean, I'm not saying this guy's the authority on it, but like, that was the popular thinking at the time. Like, no, you're just repeating the name, a proper noun. Which naturally, like, I won't say it on this podcast because of the backlash, and I think it's wrong. But until like there's that reverse reckoning or whatever, till like common sense takes place, like reasserts itself, then I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying that.
Right. Do you remember that story from about like a year or so ago about a professor who got suspended for
the
saying,
Chinese?
Yeah, the Chinese one. Yeah.
Like,
that was when you listen to it, it's like he's obviously not being racist. Like, he's obviously, and that word's like, I've heard of that word in Chinese. Someone who was Asian explained it to me. Goes, yeah, it's just a filler word. It sounds like the N word. And so I knew about that years for a long time. So it was just sort of like,
that was like a like the, what's the word, like the rock bottom of kind of this crit takeover, this like hostile takeover, where a guy is saying a word that sounds like a bad word in our language.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was fired, but like the fact that he was even in the news, he was suspended, but I think he was reinstated. But even still, like you have to go through that shitstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's blowback. I do think the pendulum's swinging the other way, which is going to cause its own issues. But there's still enough of this in art and pop culture that I still think it's a cause of concern.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So should we call it?
Yeah, we can call it. Fight the crits.
Yeah.
Fight them.
Fight them hard. With your brain.
Stay reckless.
Stay reckless, man.